are Sint Maarten. You are Sint Maarten.
The URSM, the Unified Resilient Sint Maarten Movement, being a political movement, will be hosting a weekly radio program called You Are Sint Maarten, every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on Radio Mix 94.7 FM. I myself, Dr. Messalina, the political leader of URSM, will be hosting this radio program in which current issues, actualities and general topics will be discussed with the people of Sint Maarten. So join us every Wednesday on Radio Mix 94.7 for our radio show You Are Sint Maarten.
You are Sint Maarten. You are Sint Maarten.
Dear people of Sint Maarten, good evening. Welcome to your radio program You Are Sint Maarten on Radio Mix 94.7 FM. I myself, Dr. Messalina, as you know, the surgeon in Sint Maarten Medical Center since 1999, is the host of this radio program. As you know, I'm also since October 10, 2021, the political leader of the Unified Resilient Sint Maarten Movement, in abbreviation the URSM. As you know, the URSM is a political movement and is for sure contesting the upcoming parliamentary elections for country Sint Maarten that hopefully will be earlier than later in the nearby future. As you know, URSM stands for putting the people and the country above self and believe in educating and informing the people of this nice country. We believe that there should be a great balance between economic growth and also the social welfare of the individuals in this country. We are presenting a weekly program in which current topics, community developments and issues, and general matters concerning the people of Sint Maarten are discussed. As you know, we are a new political movement and we are a party that only wants to be constructive. We do not want to be part of the political culture of criticizing each other, throwing with mud, maintaining the formula of the crab mentality. No, we want to unify. That is also the reason that we have called our political movement a Unified Resilient Sint Maarten Movement. We want to unify, we want to be a unity, because we only believe that by unifying, holding each other's hands, we can work on country identity for our beloved Sint Maarten. We from the URSM, of course, has a lot of concerns what should happen with our country. We have our concerns of the problem of this community. And because of that, we are constantly looking and talking with people that we do believe make a difference in their approach to try to make Sint Maarten a great community for all of us. And hence today the reason, because URSM has, for example, a lot of concerns about, for example, the detention center in Point Blanche, and, for example, also about social housing for the populace of country Sint Maarten. We decided from the URSM that today we're going to invite two persons that we really believe are almost, and not almost, they are Sint Maarteners because they have many, many years here in Sint Maarten, and they are Sint Maarteners with us, and they have done their part and proven to us that they are constructive people to want to make this country a better place for all of us. And because the URSM has, for example, a lot of concerns concerning the detention center, the prison of country Sint Maarten, and also a lot of concern concerning the social housing for Sint Maarten, I decided today that I'm going to invite two great persons that are very known in the developing and construction world of Sint Maarten, working even by a very known company called Licam, and I invited them for us to discuss today the possibilities to build and reconstruct a great prison for country Sint Maarten again, and also do their part in their vision for the social housing for country Sint Maarten. I want explicitly to mention today that those persons are professionals. They are not here because they have an affiliation with a political color or political party. No, the URSM invited them and these people, these professionals, because they have a great vision to contribute to help solve our current issues in country Sint Maarten. And hence today I invited with me Mr. Henk van der Heuvel and also Mr. Hans Hootsman. Mr. Henk, in the first place, welcome in our radio program.
Thank you, Luc. Thank you.
Great. And Mr. Hans, for you also, thank you for taking your time out to be with us in our radio program. Welcome.
Thank you, Luc.
Great. Henk and Mr. Hans, we have, in my introduction, I said that we have a lot of concerns for country Sint Maarten. And actually, it would be best if we never had to build a prison for this country. That means that we are giving the people all opportunity and chances to become good humankinds in our community. But unfortunately, a society has always proven to need a prison, an institution, a detention center. And I was talking with you guys coincidentally, and you guys opened a fantastic book that I never knew that you guys already had thought and had plans to reconstruct actually a detention center that we have already and reconstruct it for country Sint Maarten. Henk, I would like you to just tell me the way that you made me enthusiastic for this project of reconstruction of the prison. I want you to just give an introduction about how it all started and how far did we reach. But unfortunately, we didn't go over the last stripe that we had to go to make this a reality for country Sint Maarten. Just enlighten us about the process that you went through for this new prison for Sint Maarten.
Now, to begin with, I came here to the island in '87 for the construction company Bohama, Curaçao. And I built a prison. I delivered the prison was 90, I think.
1991.
Yeah.
Okay, that is how it started. You went to Curaçao actually to work on the prison in Curaçao.
First Curaçao, but
and afterward
to build, I came here.
Okay, and after that you decided, they gave you the opportunity to transfer yourself to Sint Maarten to start with the construction of the prison in Point Blanche for country Sint Maarten. Yeah. And we're talking of what year are we talking, Henk?
We started construction in 88.
In 1988.
1988. Okay. 89. And then 1990 we delivered it.
In 1990.
Yeah.
So actually, Henk, you are since the beginning of this institution, you were involved in this project. Yeah. Okay, after that, Henk, we decided that is you delivered what was demanded from you with the construction. And all of a sudden now we are in a phase of a crying situation with the prison. And as I understood from you and also from Hans is that there is a total new project plan on the table for many years already to actually reconstruct this prison that actually we all are dreaming of, to have a state-of-the-art prison for correct. Our community. So Hans, perhaps maybe you can tell us a little also about the project that you all have thought a long time ago about, that the drawings are there already. Tell us a little about the visions that you from the developing sector of construction have delivered as a plan for the reconstruction of this new detention center.
Yeah. The request at that time from the Ministry of Justice was to expand the prison capacity from 40 cells to 80 cells for the let's say the normal inmates we have on Sint Maarten. You can do two things. You can look for a new location, which we investigated, or you see what the possibilities are on the present location with the present prison. Looking for a new location means that you also have to arrange all the activities and items you need with the prison, like offices, kitchen, sport facilities, and so on and so on. And since everything is already in Point Blanche present, And at that time, we were doing an extension of the offices part, the kitchen, new kitchen building, and the renovation of the partial renovation of the prison. At the end, the plan landed to extend the present prison. In coordination with Prime Architects and ICE, we developed two extra levels on the present cross structure building to give the extension of the 40 cells what the Ministry of Justice needed, and we included for the category youth 18 to 24 and several cells and sport facilities on the same location.
Okay. So Hans, the way I understand it, do we have now only the ground level and you are adding 2 extra stories on it, or do we have at this particular moment already 2 stories and you're adding 2 extra to it? Explain me that.
Presently there are 2 stories.
Okay.
And what we have designed and developed is that we put 2 levels on top of the present construction, but we built over the present construction as it is now.
Okay, so that means that once we finalize this dream project that we have actually already designed, it will end up with a building consisting of 4
levels.
4 levels.
Yeah.
That is where we're going. Okay, so Henk, the way it is thought about now, I can understand that also for financial reasons, it would be better to maintain the prison logistically where it is already. But you told me something impressive that I was very impressed with, is that you told me we can construct this prison from the air going down.
Correct.
Can you explain the people of Sint Maarten what you mean with that?
Now, that way you can, the inmates can stay there, you know. You don't have to move to another location. What we're doing is in the corridor here between the walls, actually, we put a huge tower crane, what we have actually, it. And then the material comes from outside the wall, delivered, and we bring it over to the roof of the existing prison.
And from there on,
building,
you're building. So you come with the material from outside the walls, going the air,
correct,
landing them back on the roof of the current structure, and from there on you can expand going up.
Correct.
Okay. Our Henk, the structure that we have now, is that structure, seeing the many years already that this building exists, is it a strong foundation to carry it, or of course you will have to add some fortifying pillars to it?
No. The whole construction is standing on complete solid rock. Because in those days when I started, there was a company from Puerto Rico, Drillex, I think it was. Mm-hmm. They did with dynamite. They put all the rock off in those days. It is complete solid rock. Only in one corner, not the building, but the wall outside. Mm-hmm. And the plans that we made was together with ICE. Mm-hmm. They make the whole calculation to make columns from the outside.
Yes.
You cannot see it on the radio, the plan,
unfortunately,
of course,
because I can tell you these are beautiful drawings that I can see. Unfortunately, on the radio we cannot show the people of Sint Maarten.
To hold the new structure on top of it.
Yes.
It's all calculated already.
It's already calculated.
Yeah, it worked out.
So currently, I think actually we can expand the amounts of inmates that we can house in this structure. That is the promising future for Sint Maarten. We can go till about how many detainees the way we calculated this new structure. How many?
You add now 40 cells
to it.
To the present 40 cells that
you have. So actually you're going to double the capacity of the prison.
Correct.
With the future vision with this drawing.
And then on top of that, 18 cells are added for the youth category 18 to 24.
No, that is added to the extra 40. So actually it's going to be 58 extra possibilities to isolate people if it's necessary.
Correct.
Okay, so Hans, what you were telling me was very interesting, and that is that there has been a consideration also to separate the age group from 18 to 24. Can you explain us a little about that concept?
Yeah, there are three category prisoners in age.
Yes.
It is from 12 to 18. We have on Sint Maarten presently located in Cape Bay.
They're going to stay there?
They stay there.
They will not come to this new building? Yes.
No.
Then the next category is from 18 to 24.
Yes.
They will be added to the location in Point Blanche.
Yes.
And then from 24 and up is the third category.
But Henk, you told me also something very interesting, that in the concept design, it's considered for the group from 18 to 24 not to get in touch with the other inmates in that institution.
Correct, yeah. They have a complete separate wing actually on top.
And that will be
Top floor.
completely separately managed
Yeah.
for that age group from
Correct.
18 to
They have
24.
their own playground and their own library, their own gym.
Okay, and that is for females and for males. So we're going to separate the males from the females in the age
For
group.
the youth category is only for male.
Yeah.
For the
Females are located in the office building.
in the office building.
Yeah.
And the males are going to be separately from the other inmates
Yeah.
in the age group from 18 to 24.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct. Wow. So we have thought about. Mr. Hans, something else that I think we should consider is not to isolate the person, but to try to improve the circumstances and actually try to make a change in the mindset of detainees. That is actually what we want. We want people to reconsider their actions of life, try to give a different direction to their thoughts of life, to make them positive people that can contribute and participate in a normal society. So the first thing I think is, for example, education in the prison. I'm thinking about sport activities for the detainees. Crafts, what can we do to help them to become handyman later in society? Can you give us a little an insight about what has been taught about, for example, accommodation for sport, for education, etc.?
For the youth category 18 to 24, they have the top level of the building complete. 3 wings are cells in combination with a living room ID. And the 4th wing is then reserved for schooling and doing things together and so on.
And next to that?
On top of that wing, there is a sports field on the roof.
On the roof?
On the roof, so the youth category of, like we said, they cannot be mixed with the older inmates. Dus the youth category from 18 to 24 have their own sports facility on the roof.
On the roof?
Yeah.
Okay. And those now that fall in the category from 24 and older, do we have a separate sports establishment for them?
They have presently already a gym.
Yes.
There are 3 field locations where they can sport outside.
At this particular moment.
particular
and the
moment
idea
they
is,
have
of
that.
course, that once
And
we
then
bring...
also on ground floor level, there's a sports center is on ground. It is recently renovated. I read in the newspaper. They have classrooms. They have computer possibilities. They have a sewing location. They have a pool room. They have all kinds of activities at ground floor level.
And these activities or spaces are accessible for the group from 18 to 24 and also the group...
No. 18 and 24, they are sitting on roof level.
And
They come in the building.
yes.
They go with the elevator up.
Okay.
And stay there until that time is done.
Yes.
And on that level they have all their things, the schooling, the being together. They have an own living room on each wing.
Okay.
And on the roof they have the sports facility.
Fantastic. Actually, Henk, I do not understand this, especially now that I'm leading a political movement. And as I said, you guys are professionals. You guys are not sitting here because you are politically affiliated with a political party. Absolutely not. But my vision as a political leader from a political movement is that I just want to incorporate people with great visions to bring solutions instead of sitting with people in a radio program to criticize the deficits of this country that we all know already. But Henk, you have to explain me something because I have a big ambition to change this country. We have thought about this construction and we have this plan for years on the table. We have thought about, as Hans said, about how we're going to do with the age group from 18 to 24. We thought about computer rooms, education areas for schooling of the inmates. We talk about sport facilities for both groups. We have the whole design. We thought even how we're going to do it. And what I'm impressed of is that we can do the whole construction or reconstruction of this prison from the air on without having the necessity to remove the inmates. But Henk, something for me states a big question mark is, why is it not possible, or what happened that we could not realize the plan till now? While I think this is a general common topic that every time again we discuss that the conditions in the prison are not appropriate for the inmates, and we have to do something for these people that are now in the detention. Explain me, Henk, why this was not possible to realize.
Yeah, what can I explain? It was signed in 2014.
2014
The
already?
contract, yes.
It's about more than 9 years ago.
Exactly.
Incredible. It's ready since
The plans are ready,
2014.
and we have from the Ministry of Justice, we have a letter of intent. It's also signed by the ministers and those
Letter
days.
of intent also?
Yes.
By the Ministry of Justice?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was in
impressive.
2014 as well.
Yes.
And actually everything was ready. Also the approval from the CFT, what was it? CFT, correct?
For the financing.
For the financing also?
Everything was in place. And then it went up to the governor. And that day, the government fell.
The government fell.
Boom.
And
Over
at
and
that
out.
specific moment, this whole plan was placed in a draw again, and this plan never came out of the draw anymore for country Sint Maarten.
I give it recently to the new Minister of Justice, Anna.
Mrs. Anna Richardson?
Correct.
Yes. And
She
I
know
hope
about
there is-
it, and she will.
She will look into it, yes. But
that is
I
what she
think the
said.
time to reconsider, to think about all that has happened, as they say, we should not be in a position to reinvent the wheel again, because it's known already, we thought about it, we have the construction plan, we have the drawings, we have actually everything. It's a matter of now sitting together with all the stakeholders, that's one,
Yeah.
and secondly, get the necessary approval from the ministries that are involved in this, and thirdly, of course, to see if we can get the ones that are going to form the consortium, or those that are going to finance the project. And I think for a huge, significant, important project as a detention center for a country, it should not be a big challenge to motivate the ones that can be involved to try to contribute for us to get the financing to build this prison. I think you guys agree with me, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
But Henk, to tell me, again, imagine tomorrow we are ready for this. We say we're going to press a green button to start. Do you think in a record time, if everybody has the noses in the same direction, that we can start with this great project for country
Yes.
Sint Maarten? You think that it will be possible for us to do a speedy setup of this project?
Yeah, because
And,
all the plans are there already. I mean, it is
it
only,
has been it has been drawn, it has been thought about, and at the end of the day, the way you see the project, it's going to be a state-of-the-art prison that adheres to the international standards that the prison has to
Absolutely,
adhere
yeah.
to. So it's not that we're going to do a nice design on our own.
No.
These designs has been thought about, and they do adhere to international standards required for institutions like detention centers. Incredible. Wow.
The plans were made together with the prison director,
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
know
Wow.
a lot of
I'm
it.
very impressed, Henk,
It's
with.
not that we find it out now.
Okay. Fantastic.
We did it with the prison.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear, we think that not much is happening in Sint Maarten, and if you talk with the right people with a great heart and a good commitment for the country, with good intention, with a good heart, as I always say, there are a great of good souls in this country that did a lot of preparatory work already for us to try to solve our children diseases that we have in this country. So I'm very, very glad that I got the opportunity to get these two professionals, Mr. Hans Hootsmans and Henk van der Heuvel, very known person in the construction and developing world of Sint Maarten. and realizing what they were telling me about a project that they had already ready for the prison that actually came to the level of government and governor already, I thought it would be great to invite these two persons just to explain to the people of Sint Maarten that the projects are there. It's a matter of taking the initiative and the motivation now and giving priority to the things that necessary should get the first opportunity now to develop for country Sint Maarten. Ladies and gentlemen, time is flying on us because this is a very, very interesting topic that I'm discussing with Henk van der Heuvel and Hans Hootsman. But unfortunately, time is running on me. So what we have to do now, we are going to go for a small break and we will be back in a few minutes. Dear people of Sint Maarten, welcome to the second half of our, your radio program, You Are Sint Maarten. As you know, in the first half of this radio program, I introduced two persons that I have great respect for, that are really working to build this country back, in the name of Mr. Henk van der Heuvel and Mr. Hans Hootsmans. These are persons in the developing of projects for country Sint Maarten, and hence the reason that I decided to invite them, as I accentuate, not because they are politically affiliated. No, these are professionals that I'm trying to gather together for us to become now positive citizens, thinking on solutions for country Sint Maarten instead of the whole day criticizing and being negative. In the first half of our program, we spoke about great plans that are there already on the table that actually just need a pressing on a green button to start. And we discussed, of course, the prison that is in a crying situation now for country Sint Maarten, that we do believe that we will have to be serious about and try to make it a good institution that complies to the human rights of the prisoners and to give those that are in detention also the feeling that they are great God's creations. Good. Mr. Hans, we spoke in the first half about constructing a prison at the same location where it is and actually adding some stories above the existing complex that we have. And actually what made it interesting, and Mr. Henk mentioned that, is that we would construct this without moving the prisoners from the prison there. They could stay there. And as Mr. Henk said, we're going to build the additional stories from up going with cranes and built on top of. But you told me that you had some additional information about how that could happen without actually bringing or hampering the stability and the structure of what we have already at place.
Correct. The studies that have been made in the past showed that it is you can extend the building as it is, but you need to construct over the existing two layers of building.
What we have now.
What we have now. So what is designed is that we make concrete columns.
Yes.
With a large concrete beam going over the present building, and then on top of that column and beam structure, the two new layers will be constructed for the extension of the prison.
Actually, the new additional stories that we're going to build are on top of the existing structure, but actually they have their own new columns and beams to support it, that we relieve a little the existing structure.
Correct.
That
So
we
there
have.
is no load, structural load on the present building.
Okay. Henk, we thought also about safety for the fire crisis situations that every structure can have. There has been thoughts about how you're going to take care of the safety of the inmates in case of an emergency, for example, for whatever reason, fast evacuation situation with fire, etc. We thought about all that in that new expansion plan that we have.
In the new extension plan, yes, that is in it.
Okay.
There's a new escape route, actually.
Okay. And that escape route can serve as for a medical emergency. It can serve for fire situations that
Correct.
we think, we have to move the people fast out of this building. All those details has been thought of and discussed and
Correct. Yeah.
made as a plan already for the new project. People, as you hear, there are plans there already for a new prison for Sint Maarten, and I do believe, as leader of the URSM, that it's not necessary for us to start brainstorming again where we have to go and put a new prison for country Sint Maarten. I do believe, as Mr. Hans and Mr. Henk explain us, that the facility where it is now and the location can be used for the expansion of this detention center for country Sint Maarten. I was talking with these two gentlemen not only for the prison, because as you know, I'm exploring all possibilities for when I am, not if I will be, when I will become the leader of this country, for me to hit with my group of people the ground running. And I spoke also with these two gentlemen that are only giving in professional incentives to solve the problem of Sint Maarten. I spoke with them also about a crying situation about the insufficient social housing for the people of this country. And Henk told me that there are also plans for social housing that can be realized by just pressing the button with some financing and goodwill. That social housing project can also be realized for country Sint Maarten. Henk, explain us a little about plans that are already in the draw for example, expansion of social housing for the people of Sint Maarten.
Now, the plans are for FOCA, they call it, FOCA. I don't know if you know where it is.
Yeah, Voga is, I think, in the area of Sugar Garden where Carolina is, I think.
Correct.
And the side there, you have a tennis court there also, you have a church there.
We made also the plans for that, for the
yes,
housing and everything.
yes,
And the government started actually years ago already to do the whole infrastructure.
Yes.
So that means the roads are in already.
Mhm.
The meter walls for GB are there already. Everything is there actually, but we never start building. And we have all the plans. What we built also, there's actually a copy of it. We built Hope Estate.
Yeah, the first phase.
Exactly, the first phase.
Yes.
And then the plan came up to build it by Volker, the same thing.
Same concept.
Yeah.
Mr. Hans, this Voga concept for social housing, can you give us an idea about the big macro plan about what was the idea in constructing this community? Can you give us some ideas about it?
The idea was to construct 4 blocks of 6 housing units for 2-3 bedroom.
Yes.
And then on the heads of both sides of the project, 2 towers of 4 levels high, small apartments.
2 towers.
So you have four tower buildings, 4 level buildings, with small apartments.
And how many towers?
4.
4 towers. Okay.
And then 4 blocks of 6 condominium units with 2 to 3 bedroom.
Wow, that would be great for country Sint Maarten. Do you have an idea, Mr. Henk van der Heuvel, what stagnated actually for this plan to proceed for country Sint Maarten? Do you have an idea if we have the plan? There is a need for social housing. We know what we have to do. What do you think was the reason that we know exactly what we have to do? We have our plans ready, but at the end, the only thing that has to happen is execute the plan. What do you think every time again is a problem that we cannot execute and realize those plans that are in their need for this community? What do you think is the problem actually for this?
I cannot give an answer on that. I have no idea. It is most of the time what I see and feel is the government.
Yeah, okay. That you think that there is not enough goodwill actually to do what has to be done for the country.
Yeah, I cannot understand that they did the whole infrastructure already and never built.
But for example, Mr. Henk, you're telling me, for example, that for the development of this Voga complex, that the infrastructure is laid already for this housing plan?
My government did that. Yeah.
It is done. So
done.
the roads is there,
everything is there.
The sewage is there, everything has been thought and laid there, and the moment that you have to start piling up the blocks, as I say, for the accommodations.
Even the street lights are there.
Even the
Street lights.
Even the street lights, the infrastructure, the logistics for the street lighting is laid there too.
Exactly.
Oh, that's very, very
And the plants
disappointing.
are there. I mean, there's also
It's
press
a
the
matter
green
of,
button and we go.
yes, incredible. And we are, Mr. van der Heuvel and Mr. Hootsman, we are in their need of social housing. And every time again we're talking about this Belvedere, that I do believe that you guys at this particular moment are doing some renovation there too, right?
We do
Correct.
64 apartments of houses actually in Belvedere. We renovated on the moment.
And Mr. Hans, is this renovation project on the go at this particular moment as we are speaking?
That's correct.
Okay, so at this particular moment, there is serious reconstruction and remodeling taking place in the establishment for social housing in Belvedere.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that is
correct.
fantastic. That is,
The 64 apartments are completely stripped,
wow.
and the concrete structure that stay in place. Some additional reinforcing of the concrete structure is done, and then the 64 apartments will be completely new, finished on the inside and the outside.
Oh, that is impressive to hear. That still there are good things, there are good things happening in this country too. So we should applaud that these projects are taking place at this particular moment, because now we are so desperate, we are so exhausted in our hope that it does good to hear that at this particular moment we are working on some improvement projects in Belvedere to try to improve the accommodations for social housing. Henk, you told me something else. There is also an idea, just like the Forga area, to do a third phase in Hope Estate, because there is a first and second phase that took place already, and now there is an option and possibility to expand that project in Hope Estate with phase 3.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little about what can be expected if the green button is pressed for us to proceed with this third phase in Hope Estate?
Now, I think that we have, I understand that GB bought the land
At this particular moment.
for the third phase actually.
And it had already the destination for social housing.
Correct.
That was the idea, to use that piece of
If I'm
plot.
not mistaken, it is now from GB. They own it.
They bought it already.
That's what
Yeah,
I think. I mean,
this
you can
is,
find it
that
out
is
maybe.
very disappointing to hear.
Yeah,
but
what
okay.
they do with it.
Yeah, Mr. van der Heuvel and Mr. Hootsman, you have nothing to do with that, but I think there are some challenges for the new leader of this country for us to see how we can turn back some things to really do the right things in this country to improve the livelihood of the people of this country, because we know at this particular moment that there is an enormous necessity for social housing for country Sint Maarten. And Mr. Hans, you said even at that time when you were thinking about the construction of this social housing complex for Forga area, that it was even intended that you had the option also to buy the units.
That's correct. That was the idea.
To buy it also.
Yeah.
And as the URSM says, we are planning to work again on social housing for country Sint Maarten, and we would like the lower social class, the people that are less powerful in their buying power for country Sint Maarten, I think should have to consider the option for those also to become homeowners. And I do believe, as Mr. Hans says, that you should create an opportunity for the small man for one day for him to become an owner of a property in Sint Maarten and to pass that through to his kids and the next generation to come. And I do believe in the concept, and the URSM is believing also in the concept of a rent-to-buy process, that you start paying off that complex as a rent agreement, and gradually after 10 years it becomes your own property. And I do believe that every person, every family has the right one day to become the owner of a house in Sint Maarten. Mr. Hans, did we think also some, because another concern I have as a leader of the URSM, and we from the group in total from the URSM, is that we are a little concerned about after-school activity for the youth of Sint Maarten that we are neglecting at this particular moment. Is there a possibility, for example, in the Hope Estate Phase 3 or this Voga, that we thought about a little space for activity for the youth after school? It has been have we thought about that one, or it was only focused on social housing as such?
No, a small area is reserved to do some outside activity.
Playgrounds.
Yeah.
So we thought also about giving some activity in these areas to give some possibility for the youth to exercise a little, to do some sport activity. That has all been thought of.
So for that community, a small community, they have their own basic activity possibilities.
Henk, if we are very, very serious about Country Sint Maarten, are you telling me that at this particular moment, if we want to expand social housing for Sint Maarten, we can really start with this Voga complex right away for Country Sint Maarten?
If you use the same drawings,
Concept.
yes, it is all there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
It's been thought about. The only thing is just to include all the stakeholders again and make sure that we have the financing, of course, for this project. You know, Henk, I do
You don't
believe...
have to draw it anymore. You only copy it, and that's it. I mean,
Yes, it's about copy-paste, and we are ready to go with
Correct.
it. You know, Henk, a challenge that we have in Country Sint Maarten is, of course, our financing of our project, because, as you know, in construction world, it's all about you need the financing to realize a project, you know. And I do believe that in our relationship in the kingdom, that instead of worsening the relationship in the kingdom, I think we should fortify and be positive and try to make it an exemplous kingdom for the world. And I do believe that if we sit seriously with each other on the table in the kingdom, I do believe that the whole kingdom, with all those with a Dutch passport, being in the Netherlands or being here in the Caribbean, I do believe that we all have the same rights to have a respectable life. And I do believe that if we change our attitude in this kingdom, I do believe that we will sensitize the politicians in the Netherlands also to really give us that part to increase and improve our livelihood too. And we have to stop with this fighting and try to get everybody with the nose in the same direction to make this kingdom a exemplous kingdom for the future of Sint Maarten. Henk and Hans, I have to tell you, you guys are giving me hope again, and I'm so impressed with what you guys told me just now about plans that are ready there in the drawers just to pull out and start with for a expansion and reconstruction of our prison for Country Sint Maarten that everybody every day is stressing about. And I say, guys, the USM brought those people here just to show you that we are actually looking for problems where there are no problems, because we have those plans already at place. It's a matter of the goodwill now and the good intention just for us to be hands on deck and try to realize the project of the prison for Country Sint Maarten. The same, for example, for the concern of social housing for the people of this nation. I do believe that we will have to, in this case, try again to reorganize the construction of social housing for Country Sint Maarten. And as long as that is done, I think we can offer the people of Sint Maarten a great housing accommodation in their own country. Henk van der Heuvel and Hans, I'm thanking you, Mr. Hans Hootsman and Henk van der Heuvel. I am thanking you for the time that you took out today to be with us in this program. Especially, I'm trying to bring people here in this program that really can bring solutions for the challenges of this country. Henk, I don't know if you have a last word to say. I'm going to give you the floor. And, you're happy. I don't know what you want to tell or say to us before we close off this program.
well, it is almost Friday. Let's have a drink.
Henk, thank you very much. Mr. Hans, do you have anything more that you would like to add to this program before we close?
Let's hope that the projects will be realized indeed for Sint Maarten, for the people of Sint Maarten.
Yes, I hope that too. I'm trying to give you guys hope because the USM is thinking about a solution approach for the problems of Sint Maarten instead of reiterating and re-accentuating the problems that we have. We are trying to bring solutions to try to make this country a great place for all of us living in Sint Maarten. Henk and Hans, I want to once more thank you for the time, the costly time that you took out to be with me in this program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our radio program. I want to thank you all for being today with us in our weekly radio program, and I'm inviting you to be back with us next week Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on Radio Mix 94.7. A pleasant evening.